And welcome everybody to the Todd, you want to take this one then?
Go ahead. I'm still adjusting my microphones and stuff.
Welcome everybody to the Entering The Uknown Podcast. My name's Adam.
I'm Todd.
There you go. For tonight's episode, we got a guest coming on by the name of Ryan. I met Ryan in this one Facebook group I'm part of. It's called Mid Florida Bigfoot Research Group. Really great group. Ran by somebody we had on the show at one point, Marie Dumont. Really awesome person. Her and her team, all of them are really great guys. And one day I'm messaging through the comments section and everything, and I get this reply back, and this guy goes, "Hey, we must be cousins, you know?" And I look at the name. Coincidentally, I have a cousin named Ryan Pierce, my name. So we start talking back and forth, and had some great conversations. He's had some incredible encounters and experiences with the Florida Skunk Ape, and that's what we're going to discuss tonight. So without further ado, let me bring him on. Welcome to the show, Ryan.
How y'all doing?
Pretty good.
That's great.
And before we get into your encounters, can you give us a brief background of yourself?
I'm 44. I'm from Florida. I remember when Florida was nothing but orange groves and cow pastures,
Yeah.
the good old days. And, it's changed a lot throughout time. And I grew up Central Florida, Hernando County, Pasco County area.
Yeah.
And I lived in an area near the Green Swamp off the Withlacoochee River. And we had a lake in the backyard. And, spent a lot of time hog hunting, fishing, stuff like that, and
cool.
I poured concrete for a long time, and now I side houses and construction worker and avid outdoorsman. I love to be outdoors. That's my happy place, so
Yeah, it seems like a lot of us Floridians, that's how we grew up, on the water or in the woods, because that's where I'm from as well. Before we get into your first encounter that's happened at a young age for you, what were your thoughts on these creatures? Did you think they existed, or were you a skeptic or anything like that?
At that time, that had to been, so I was 13, so had to been 1996. Technology wasn't what it is today.
Yeah.
So the only thing we really knew about was Washington had Bigfoot. and Harry the Hendersons and stuff like that, so it really wasn't a thought. It wasn't something we thought about. I didn't know what a skunk ape was. Never heard of one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it wasn't something I was expecting. And I was thinking about it, and I kind of remember, because I think it was a Thanksgiving. And because I remember family being over, and honestly, I didn't add this in the thing, but my uncle was in the canoe with me, and we decided, let's go fishing. Everybody's over, they're all partying in the backyard, and he was younger than the rest of them and a little bit older than me. And so we're like, let's take the canoe out, because, there was nothing in that area, like that's all I had to do was, go out on my canoe. And I wasn't allowed to go on the other side of the main road. So I had to stay in that little area, So I knew if I went off into the woods, nobody would bother me. I didn't get in trouble for hanging out with the hoodlums in the neighborhood and stuff like that. So, so we load our fishing gear up, and we go, and the way this lake was, it was a main lake with a few chains of lakes that went off of it. And then a canal that went to the Withlacoochee River. And we went back to what I called the alligator pit, because that's where all the alligators were. And it was a secluded area. So it was like a mini little pond that connected to the lake.
Yeah.
And when it would dry up, so like there was a dam in the canal from the river to the lake. So sometimes this lake would dry up completely. And there would be a few little springs where, just little lime rock holes with water in them, and underground caverns and stuff. So that gets to one of my theories about them. I think they travel underground. That's one of my opinions. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And because where I seen him was right there, you know, but this was during a time of the year that the water was high. I believe there was a hurricane that around that time of year, around that time. I don't remember which hurricane it was, but so the lake was high at that time, and we go around and we're fishing because that was a really good spot. Like I could fill 5-gallon buckets up with bluegill back there, you know, and take the cane pole and just one after another. And it was a really good spot. So we go back there, we're fishing a little bit and we're goofing off. And I heard something and I just happened to look up and it looked at me and it went as loud as it could. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I made eye contact with it. And I think when I made eye contact with it is what it made it mad. You know what I mean? Because it wasn't expecting us to see it. You know, I don't think everybody can see them. You know what I mean? I don't think they're like mystical and all that, but I just think some people just don't see them. You know, I think only in tune people see them. So I seen it. It made that roar. It turned around and it hit this tree as hard as it could and it knocked it over. Now, it wasn't a big tree. It might have been a dead tree, but it hit it and it knocked it over and it just nonchalantly walked about its way and disappeared into the woods. So me and my uncle looked at me. He's like, "Did you see that?" I'm like, "How could you not see it?" You know? And so we finished fishing, you know, whatever, it was gone. So we fished and we went back home. And I remember pulling up into the yard and getting out. And my uncle was like, "Man, you wouldn't believe what we seen." And I remember everybody laughed because, you know, Thanksgiving, everybody was drinking. And I remember them just laughing like, "Oh, you seen a Bigfoot? Okay." You know, and, you know, it's whatever, you know, people don't believe you, you know. Everybody's skeptic. Yeah. So after that, I would randomly see it because my bedroom window looked out on the lake. A beautiful view. The area is actually a bird sanctuary. So there's no real like hunting on it. You know what I mean? Unless, you know, you privately hunt out there. So nothing out there. And I would see it walk along the lake edge at night. You know what I mean? You could see it. And we can talk about a UFO experience at one point too, if you want to get into that.
Oh yeah, you can talk about that. Sure.
Okay, so I would see it, and I remember one night it was kind of weird, you know. I remember looking at it out my window and just being like, "Wow," and laying down and going to bed, you know, because I didn't have nobody to talk about it with, and it was just one of those things I kind of kept to myself after they laughed at me. And so I remember one night seeing it, and then I remember going to sleep. And then I remember having this horrible nightmare about little gray men. All right. And I still say that was a dream. I don't know. But I remember waking up in paralysis, you know, where you can't move.
Yep.
And I remember the whole sky lighting up. And then I'm getting chills just talking about it. The whole sky lighting up, and then a light just going, just taking off out the window. It was crazy, you know. So that was a weird experience. I had a lot of weird experiences out there. We would see orbs floating around in the trees, and so, you know, I would go fishing out there, and you would know they were there. You know what I mean? You could hear them in the bushes, and I think they were just watching me. They knew I wasn't a threat or nothing. And then my parents went through a big spat. They got divorced, moved away. Ended up meeting a guy, a Native American guy, and he taught me everything about hog hunting, right?
Yep.
So we would go out to Hillsborough River. We would hunt there. There was a place called Connerton Preserve, which is now a big subdivision on the corner of I don't want to get the road wrong, 52 and 41, Lando Lakes area. Like at the end of Lando Lakes, it's a huge $1 million. There's houses everywhere now, but we would go out there and we would hog hunt. We would work the cattle, mend the fences, do all that. Well, I got older, and then, you know, instead of hunting with him, I kind of went out on my own, and we ended up, I'm sure you heard of Gary Stamper. He used to do the Hogger TV show years back. Remember the Lady Hoggers?
If I seen them, I probably recognize them.
You wouldn't recognize it, yeah. So anyways, we ended up, I met a lot of people in the hog hunting world, and we would go out to it was a subdivision called Hunter's Green, and it was a golf course. So we would go onto this golf course and we would hunt there, and then we would, you know, kind of jump the fence and go into an area we weren't supposed to, and we would hunt out there. And, you know, I hunted a lot of the preserves and stuff. You know, this is back in the day. I was younger, so it didn't matter then. But anyways, so we're hunting this golf course one night, and there's a bridge that goes over this little swampy area. And we look over, and there's this 7-8 foot tall figure standing down in the swamp, staring at us walking across this bridge. So that was one encounter I had in Hillsborough County. So
what did it see you guys or anything like that?
It's seen us, but it just kind of disappeared into the dark. You know what I mean? It was more of a shadow, you know, like you barely seen it. And so I remember that.
Surprised, walked up on it.
Yeah, it was like, oh, look at these assholes out here with dogs running up and down. You know? So we would hear a lot of stuff out there, but that was the only time I really seen anything in the Hillsborough area.
Yeah.
So I ended up, a city slicker buddy of mine ended up leasing that same property that I had grew up on, you know?
Okay.
So it was like, wow, you really got that property? And then, so he had bought a bunch of cows. I talked him into getting cows, you know, and he had them on other areas, little areas. And then he ended up with that lease. So I remember sitting over there talking with him. I'm like, you're going to let me hog hunt out there, right? And he's like, yeah. So he ended up getting cattle, and the deal was that I would keep up his cattle. I would keep up his fences, and I could go out there and do whatever I wanted. So we would go out there, and it's a beautiful area. It really is. You pull down the back of this one neighborhood, you go through the gate, and it was about 1,500 acres. It was a narrow area, and it had, you know, horse ranch in one area, a little ranch farm over in another area. And, you know, I had it set up good. Like, I learned all the hogs. I learned the times. I learned everything out there. Like, I knew the area very well. And being able to actually have permission to be out there instead of like when I was a kid, just roaming around out there, like whatever I wanted to, you know, I got to go into areas that I'd never been before. And there was multiple like little aquifer springs and beautiful area. So let's see. We would hear stuff. We would drive down the road late at night because, you know, the best time to be in the woods is between 11:30 and 3 o'clock in the morning. You know, It's one of those areas where fireflies are everywhere. And so we would see orbs, you know, floating around as we're riding around in the woods. And then I remember being out there one time, and I had 2 young dogs with me, and they were out there hunting, doing their things. I had my older dog, Bonnie, out there, and she was teaching them how to trail. And we got on something at the further end of the property. And that was the first experience I had out there since I had been back. And they started barking, and, you know, when they move everything. You know what I mean? When a hog moves, it moves a lot of stuff. You know, when a deer moves, it moves a lot of stuff. But when these guys move, like the whole world moves, you know? So they get after it. It loses us. It disappears. Who knows where it went? So the dogs take me down into this area, and there were blackberries, wild blackberries. And the lake was kind of dry at that time. And I remember finding, you know, large footprints in these blackberry patches. Like, nobody's going to be walking barefoot in blackberries. Them thorns, you know.
Right.
So I may have posted it on the Mid Florida thing years and years ago, but I've lost that Facebook account since then. It got banned for being stupid. And so I had those pictures, and I had pictures of the raccoon hunting experience. We would be out there late at night working the dogs, and the same call I use for my dogs is the same call I use to call them. It's like a woo woo, and like you can get my dogs 3 miles away. I've watched them on the Garmin 3 miles away, stop, turn, and come back to me. So I know that sound echoes. And so when I would do that, a lot of the times I would get, woo-hoo, I would get it back. And you would hear, whoa, or you would hear tree knocks all the time out there. It was a magical place. So
Sounds like
yeah, it was great. I miss it. I really wish I wouldn't went into bad with that guy. So the coon hunting experience, that was one of the best ones. So we had got some hound dogs, and like I said earlier, there was a lot of coons out there because nobody really hunted out there. It was a secluded area where nobody went. And so I remember being out there one time. We were hog hunting, and there were so many raccoons that you could hear them talking to each other from tree to tree. And it was really unreal. We probably seen 100 raccoons just that one night. So I'm like, okay, well, let's get some coon dogs. We're hunting. I got 30 dogs anyways. What's a couple more? So I ended up getting, I believe it was a red bone. And my buddies had got some blue ticks, and they were all young dogs. They were all puppies. And so we went out and we did the same loop that we do when we go hog hunting. So we're walking. They treat a few coons, they had a bunch of races, where they chase the coon. And we get back to the truck, and my buddy looks at me and he holds his Garmin up and goes, "Man, that new dog I got is still out there working." I said, "Bro," I said, "your dog's hiding under the truck." I said, it followed us. It's been walking behind me, since we had we were in the bush over there. And he's like, "Well, what the hell's going on out there? Well, what's got my collar?" Said, "Probably Bigfoot." Just, I didn't really think that's what it was. I just, it's like, okay. So we walk and we get into where it was, and where it was pretty much the center part of the one area, the bigger area of the property, because the property's sectioned off into different areas. And we get in there, and when we walked in there, it was weird because, it had that silent, like everything got quiet. And then all of a sudden you could hear stuff in the bushes. And every time we would get closer to that collar, it would jump to another side. And then when we would get over there, it would jump, and then it started grunting. And then, just everything moving. And, we did that for, it felt like 10 minutes, just trying to figure out what the fuck, what had our collar. And so finally, it kept getting closer and closer to us because we were getting closer and closer to it. And it touched him on the back of the arm, and he jumped and he said, "F this, I'm done. I don't care about that collar, whatever." I said, he's like, "Let's get out of here." And, so we walked back to the truck and got back to the truck, and I said, I told you. You didn't believe me. They're out there, And he's like, "Yeah." So he believes now, And so I went back that next day and went to the last spot where it tracked, and that collar was 8 foot up in the tree.
Wow.
Yeah. Like bushes was broken, palmettos was laid down where we've been chasing it around. It was crazy. Like just, but I think he was just teasing us. I don't think he wanted to hurt us. Yeah,
that's what it sounds like.
I've never had a fear of them. I've never had a reason to fear them. Like they've never hurt us, like never came after us. They didn't like the dogs. But
No,
other
they
than dogs,
don't.
yeah, no.
Yeah, for some reason, I hear that out a lot of people. They'll even attack them in their own yards. They don't
Yeah.
like dogs for some reason.
No, they did not like the dogs. And then I almost kind of think that they kind of herd the pigs, you know, like they follow the pigs around, because I think that's one of their food sources. Because a lot of the times when I would find the pigs is when I would see them.
Yeah.
I remember being in one area one time over it's called Shady Hills. It's over towards the Spring Hill area. And when you would get down in this area, the smell was so strong, because they smell like a hog too. You know, they got a similar smell to what a hog smells like. But this area was just, I never had any experiences there or nothing, but it would always be an eerie feeling like we were being watched, and the strongest smell that I would ever smell in that area.
What would it be like? Dead quiet as well.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh,
It was
I
just
hate
shut
that.
off, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And you know how Florida is. There's always a sound. You always hear the frogs and the crickets. You always hear them. Like I can hear them right now.
Yeah.
We had a whippoorwill out here last night. I'm surprised he ain't out tonight.
Now, going back to your first encounter, you said your uncle was there, so you did have somebody with you.
Yeah. Yeah. He was there.
Was he shocked and surprised? Was that like his first time seeing it?
Yeah. Yeah. He didn't know what to see. He ended up, he got in a bad car accident and broke his neck.
Yeah.
And he's paralyzed right now, which is kind of weird. Both the guys are in wheelchairs right now that had those experiences with me. That's kind of weird. But he ended up wrecking his truck. And I remember the last time I went and seen him, he had brought it up. You know, so he remembers. He remembers it.
Did you get a good look at it, like its facial details, body, everything?
Oh yeah,
else?
yeah. Dark brown, blackish eyes, barely any whites in the eyes. You know, they still got a little bit of white, but mostly big dark eyes, huge brow. Like the nose was like an aborigine. You know how they have the real big nose.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know what you talk about.
Really hairy.
Yeah.
I mean, but yeah.
Did it
Gotta
look?
How long was the fur hair?
How long was the hair?
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of weird because it's almost like they groom themselves. You know, you hear a lot of times they got real shaggy, nasty hair, but his hair it wasn't nappy. It was almost like a groomed dog. And,
Nice.
you know, kind of like we are, you know, and no real
Probably
chin
still
hair.
live with his mom.
Yeah, right. No,
Like
that was
everybody from that generation nowadays.
yeah, right.
So I mean, did this thing look more apish in the face, more human? What did you think about that?
Like an aborigine.
So it
Like
had
an
more of a
original.
human look.
You know what I mean? Like they had that flat face with the huge nose, and they had the
Mhm.
brow, and it looked like a aborigine from Australia with a lot of hair on it and really big.
I like the fact when you brought that up, like when you made eye contact, that's when you said that seemed to be what did it. The like really tick it off.
He'd been watching us. He was watching us catch his fish. Yeah, and that's all I could figure is he was watching us. And when I made eye contact, that's when he was like, I think he was mad that I caught him watching us.
Yeah,
sounds
and
like
I almost wonder if they take it kind of as a challenge as well as when you make eye contact with them, you know?
Right. Just like a dog or anything. You know, I've worked with a lot of dogs, and, you know, especially like bulldogs and dogs that are aggressive. You kind of got to look them in the eye and then kind of look away, you know?
Yeah.
But when you look them in the eye and stare at them, it makes them mad, you know? They take it as a threat. So,
just like a bear.
yep.
Any predator.
Damn.
You know, I've seen many bears. Like, you know, I guess the population in Florida is getting really big with the bear. I've seen, you know, I kind of throw this at people when they ask me about the skunk apes and the barefoot is the panthers. You know, how many times have you seen a panther in real life? Most people have never seen one. I've been lucky enough to see 3. One of them was black. So from the research that I've done on that it must have been a jaguar, which, being in Florida with the way it was in the 70s and the 80s, with the way people owned exotics, I can definitely understand a jaguar being around here. If you go into history, when we first come over here and colonized, there were jaguars and they called them tigers. They were all in the Appalachians and all that but there were jaguars, and we pretty much hunted them back down into South America. But I guess now they're having sightings of jaguars in Arizona and New Mexico and stuff now.
Wow.
Yeah. But, I've only had really 2, all the times I've been in the woods, I've only really seen 2 Florida panthers. I've seen more Bigfoot than I've seen panthers.
I had the pleasure of seeing a Florida panther one time going across the road. It was
they're
pretty
beautiful.
Cool.
Yeah.
You're very lucky if you get to see one of those in Florida.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I guess they're making a comeback as well with their population since they've been
they're starting to. They're getting further up north now. They're starting to spread out, but they don't know how many there really are. They say they do, but they really don't, because they hide so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's like where I live. They say there's never any around here, but I know people personally who've seen them, in the wild.
Yep.
Real close to where I live.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff out there that people don't believe because they ain't seen it. A lot of
stuff. And I guess that's kind of what you were getting with the rest of the family when you guys went back to the house as well. You were kind of catching a little ridicule for it, weren't you?
Yeah, they're like, "Oh, you seen Harry?" They didn't believe me.
So none of your other family members have had an encounter while they were on that property, is what you're saying?
No, I don't have much family. You know what I mean? And my stepfather was a workaholic, so he never really went out there. Like, the only time when he was at home, he was at the house and he was at work. He was at home and then he was at work. And then my mom, she never really went out there either. So, I was really the only one that explored that area. And that my uncle was with me, just like I said, because I'm pretty sure it was Thanksgiving Day.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Have you had them come up closer to the house, to the windows at nighttime?
No, because like I said, the lake was there. So the closest they would get to that bedroom window was the edge of the lake on the other side. But I would see him staring at the house. Like, he would stand there, and kind of like that picture looks like with the alien right there. Just just staring at the house.
Oh yeah, in the background. I see what you're talking about.
Yeah, that one's got an attitude.
Did you notice any signs of them, like any kind of tree structures, things like that?
That was another thing. Okay, so where I had seen him, when I had went back, years and years later, there was a tree that was laid over, and I mean a big tree. And there were sticks and other trees and everything just piled up on this tree. And it was almost like a den.
Yeah.
So, and it was huge. And there was, like I said, there was nobody out there. Nobody went out there. You never seen machinery out there. And there was no way to get machinery back there. There was a couple of roads, ranch roads, that went through the center, and it was an area where nobody could have moved these trees and piled them up where they were.
Yeah.
So I almost, when I get a chance to go back up there, because I can get onto the lake, I think I'm going to get onto the lake and go ahead and go up on that property and see if I can get some pictures of that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Now that technology is the way it is, and my life's a little more calmer now that I'm older. I'm more interested in this subject than I used to be. You know what I mean? Like, back in my younger days, it was more or less something I just knew about. you know, but now it's like, I want to know more about it, you know?
Right.
So I think once I get the chance to go back up there, I'm going to take the kayaks, go out on the lake and walk up on that property in that area and do a little research, you know?
Yeah.
But my thing
It's
right
quite
now
common
is,
with those people that have seen it.
what's that, bud?
Yeah, go ahead. It's like, it's quite common for those people that see it that they just want to draw in and eventually just turn themselves into trying to find out exactly what it is. You know,
Yeah,
it's like
I mean,
it becomes a driving force.
I kind of know what it is. My thing now is I want my kids to see it. You know, I want them to have that experience. And that's why since I've moved down here, I've been going to Mayaca a lot because, you know, there's so many stories. And then like, you know, there's that video a few years ago where it shows the two walking across the grassy plain and everybody stopped on the edge of the road. And the park ranger says, "Oh no, that was some kids in a suit." There wasn't no kids in a suit, bro. That wasn't no kids in a suit. That wasn't. You know what I mean? I watched the video over and over. That was that. And then, you know, the old lady had the picture of what she thought was an orangutan, you know, the big hairy one. Everybody's seen that picture. But
taking
you know,
the apples off the porch.
Yeah. And I've only been out to Mayaca a few times because, like I said, I'm new down here to this area. Like,
Yeah,
I know all the woods up that way from Nobleton all the way down to the Hillsborough River. I know all those woods and I've been in all of them. So now this is like a new place for me to explore down here. And I want to find it down here. You know what I mean? So, and there's just, like I said, every time I've gone to Mayaca, which has only been a couple times, I found something, you know, that, you know, normal people wouldn't notice it, but us that have had experiences, we see it, you know?
You know what to look for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I get a sense, you know, it's like,
Yeah.
I get a same sense with snakes, poisonous snakes. It's like, I know they're there, you know, like I'll be like, there's a snake. And then all of a sudden a snake will show up. So it's like the same thing with these guys. I'd be like, there's one around. I can smell it. I can feel it. And then I'll find something, you know, so. Well, I'm just hoping to have the kids out there with me one day and they get to see it, you know?
Yeah. No, plus they'll know what actually exists out there in the woods. And, you know, and I would always say, you know, take some caution with you, you know?
Oh, yeah, always. Always. There's dangerous stuff out there, man. I mean, there's big cats, there's hogs, you know, there's
snakes.
Yeah. Dude, I've seen cottonmouths that are way bigger than anybody says they can get. You know what I mean? I've seen cottonmouths that literally open their mouth up, and I don't know. I think it was the devil. Like,
yeah, you stay away from that.
Oh man, we seen one time. I was with a buddy of mine, and he was younger than me. He had picked a turtle up, and he threw the turtle down back in the water. I'm like, you asshole, go pick that turtle up, because it landed on its back. You know, let's go put that turtle over. What's wrong with you? We used to mountain bike. I mean, I say mountain bike, but you know how Florida is. So we used to ride our mountain bikes through the woods, and we come across this pond, and as he went to go walk down the hill where the lake was, the palmettos started moving. I'm like, yo, watch out, snake over there. And this snake stood up and it opened its mouth, and I swear its fangs were that big. And it just, you know how cottonmouths, they move them.
Yeah.
It just moved its mouth, and I grabbed the stick and I threw it at it, and I hit it in the head. And it didn't even face this thing, bro. It turned around, and when it turned around, it laid the palmettos down. It had to been 8-9 foot cottonmouth, bro. That thing hit you.
Yeah, they say they only grow to 5.
Yeah, exactly. They only grow to 5, my ass.
So
that's another thing I want to get into too. Is that's my next adventure. As I want to start python hunting. That's one of my things that I want to do next. You know, I've gotten older, and the hog hunting, you know, that kind of whoops my ass. And it's really expensive keeping up with the systems and the dogs and all that. So I'm waiting for my little boy to get a little bit older. He's 9 now. I got 9-year-old twins, a boy and a girl, but wait for him to just get a little bit older, and we're going to start going down south, seeing Dave Shealy and doing some python hunting down there.
Oh yeah, there's plenty
There you
of
go.
them. Now, when you guys were out hog hunting and everything, do you think this is like one of their main sources of protein? Are those hogs, and they're out there?
I think
hunting?
so, bro, because it seemed like when you would see them, they would be with the hogs. I remember a few times seeing the patch of hogs and then just seeing them over watching, you know?
Yeah.
So almost like herders, but hogs.
Would you find any kill sites or anything like that?
Yeah. We actually now we found a dead cow one time, and there was no explanation for its death, but it was missing stuff that it shouldn't have been missing, you know. So like organs and stuff like that. It was weird. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I know there's coyotes and stuff out there, but there was no bite marks. It was just a healthy cow that was dead. And then
and there was probably nothing else on it, right? There was just nothing was crawling on it or anything. Just a clean dead cow.
Yeah, and it was one of the more aggressive cows. You know, in the herd, you normally have a female that's more aggressive than anything in the herd because they're protective. I think maybe she was protecting the calves or something, and I don't know. That was an unexplained mystery.
Yeah, UFO come along and took it. Some organs.
How did this affect your one buddy when you're talking about when you guys were out raccoon hunting and it came up and touched you? Did he say he felt like the fingers and everything touch him? And
yeah, he goes, "It touched me. It fucking touched me." And I mean, he's a big boy. He was 6 foot something, you know. And I'm assuming it probably thought he was one of them, you know. It had to have been a young one teasing us the way it was.
Yeah.
So yeah, it touched him and he jumped. It scared Jesus into him. Like
was that the only one around, or do you think there was more?
That night, I think it was the only one, but there were multiple ones on that property. It wasn't just one on that property. You know what I mean? It was multiples. Because it was always different, you know?
Yeah. Now the dog that was missing the collar, did it come back kind of like whimpering, like a little scared?
It was under the truck hiding. It was hiding under the truck. It was done.
I wonder if it grabbed by its collar, ripped it off or something, because
I'm assuming it probably went and grabbed it and the collar just slipped off, you know?
Yeah.
Because them collars on young dog, them collars are, you know, we normally have them on the bigger dogs and we had them on younger dogs that night. So I'm assuming it just slipped right off.
Yeah. Does your friend ever still bring up that what happened that night?
Yeah, he talked about it. Last time I went hog hunting with him was a few years ago, but we had talked about it then. We were out hunting along the interstate. He had a piece of property out there, and that was actually the last time I went hog hunting. The kids got in the way, you know.
Yeah. So, but did it take a while for him to get back out there and do it? Or
No. It's an addiction. Hog hunting's a horrible addiction, and working dogs is a horrible addiction. Like, I mean, it's one of those things that it's an adrenaline rush that you don't get like none other, you know. And it's hard to explain, but it's one of them adrenaline things because we would catch them live. We wouldn't kill them. So
you grab him by the back leg and everything like that.
Yeah, I still got him. Weasel. He's a Great Dane bulldog. He's about 16 now and he's blind, but you know, back in the day, me and him were a team, and I'd walk him on a lead, and I'd have my trail dogs, and they'd go out, and they'd find the hog, and they'd get it to sit, and then me and him would go in, and he'd catch the ear, and I'd catch the leg, and my old lady would come behind, and she's really good with dogs, and she would get the dog off. Like we were out one night, and we ended up with this one piece of property, and it had a couple ponds on it, and we had caught one aggressive hog, and we let him go. He was so aggressive, you know, because those are the fun ones to catch, you know. So we let him go. That way he could go breed and make more monsters like him. So we're on our way back, and the dogs bay up, and we end up catching this 300-pound hog in the pond. I'm waist deep in water. And Weasel, he's a big dog. He's locked onto this hog's head, and I'm trying to keep him from drowning. So I got him laid up on the grass and I got him laid up in the water grass. And my buddy is pulling on him, trying to get him off. And I'm screaming at my old lady. Because she's real cautious about water that she can't see in, You would think being from Florida, she wouldn't be scared of water, but, So she gets there and she touches this dog on the back of the head and goes, "Caught hog," and he let go. After, and Mike looked at me, my buddy looked at me. He's like, "How's that?" But so we had a system, and it was fun. I miss it. I really do miss it.
One thing I did forget to ask was when you and your uncle did see the one. How tall do you think it was?
7 foot. Around 7 foot. We were in the water and it was up on an embankment, but at that time we just kind of went along. After we seen it, we went fishing. So, I mean, thinking about it, it was probably 7 foot tall.
Yeah. Do you think that's probably about the average size of them down there is around that height?
I figure maybe they probably get up to 8 foot tall, 9 foot tall. Because the bedding that I seen in my ACA, that was a big bedding area. Whatever was laying there was at least 8, 9 foot tall.
Now, what you were just talking about right there in the bedding area is that I'm about to show a picture. This is what you sent me of footprints that you found. So that's one of the photos. There's more of a closer view of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I like this one because it looks like a stride, what we were talking about before the show. You got like a left foot, and then it looks like a right foot at the top up there.
Right. And then you can almost see the toes on that bottom foot. Real soft, like a real soft step. And then like it took off with its right foot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that would be a pretty decent stride right there. That's more than what a human could do.
I was thinking about 6 foot. I was thinking about a 6 foot stride because if you look at it, you can see the tire marks.
Yeah.
And that's diagonal. Most tire marks are at least 4 or 5 foot apart.
Yep. No, that is a decent stride.
I'm gonna start carrying a tape with me when I go out there. Yeah, that was more of an unprepared. That was a last minute hike, So yeah, I'm definitely gonna put me a tape in my hiking bag. So
just get one of those fabric ones like they get at the sewing center, because then you don't have to carry a bulky tape measure around.
That's
it
a good
just
idea.
folds up a roll.
Right.
That's what I carry in my ready pack when I go out Sasquatching.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
want to start.
It's connected to a magnifying glass.
Right.
So can you talk more about that bedding area, because we were having a great discussion about that before the episode even started.
So we had went out, and like I said, this was the first hike that my buddy had went with me since he moved down here. He moved down here from Alabama, and people had told him, "Don't go hiking with Hank." People call me Hank, so he goes, "Don't go hiking." People had told him, "Don't go hiking with Hank," and he didn't understand why. You know what I mean? And when I go hiking, I'll cut off trail and I will go through stuff that people will not go through. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I'm like, all right, here we go. And I cut through because I'm like, we can get to the trail. We can cut off like 4 hours of this hike and get back to the truck. The kids are wore out. I'm fixing to put them to sleep. So we went ahead and we cut through grass that was over our heads, and we're walking, and I started seeing game trails. So, you follow the game trails because they're going to eventually pop you out somewhere. So it's a really thick area, but I guess you'd call it a plain. It's not really a flat woods because it don't have trees. Yeah, my ACA is. It's real open in some areas. And it's just nothing but tall grass. And there was this, a creek that runs through, but it was dried up. So we were following the creek. And then I'm like, well, we can cut through there. And then we got to this area where it was really thick. I'm like, we're not getting through there. So let's go this way. And that's when we found the hog skull, and just hog parts spread everywhere. So I'm like, it's either a cat or it's a Bigfoot, you know?
Yeah.
And I just happened to look over to where that was. And like I said, it looked like the cutout imprint that you see in people's yards. Like somebody had just laid it down in the grass, you know, and it, like, you know, you lay sideways, you know, and there was where a head was, there were the feet and or the legs, and like it was big, you know, like normally you see a deer bed and it's just a little round circle where they curl up, and it was just like that, but it was the shape of, you know, a humanoid. It was crazy. And then
that's awesome.
Yeah, it really was. And I had that spot centered out, and where I found those footprints that you just showed were heading in that same direction. So I'm assuming that that's an area. So I'm going to keep working towards that area. There's a primitive campsite out there. So as soon as the fire ban gets lifted down here, I'm going to go spend the night in that area and see what I can hear and, you know, see how that turns out. But like I said, it's a new area for me to explore. So I'm having fun out there.
One of the things I was thinking about is maybe collect the soil or something, like get a good sample of the ground, you know, look around in the area for hair, things like that, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, you never know. It's like you could be the one that really breaks it through with this subject, you know?
You never know, you know, like, and I it's funny because, you know, I never really thought about it like that. But like I said, now that I'm older and I don't have the same hobbies I used to, this is kind of something that, you know, it's fun, you know?
Yeah.
And it's something to do with the kids. And like I said, I really want them to see one. I really do.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I mean, I want to see another one again, but kind of in my own terms and not how it happened to me.
Right.
They kind of freak me out up here because they're pretty big.
Story. Yeah.
I think it's, if you're not really looking for them, you're going to find them.
Yeah.
If you're looking too hard, you're going to find them. I'm not going to find them. Then they're going to know you're looking for them.
Right.
So if you're just gallivanting around in the woods and whatnot, that's
you know,
when I've had my best luck.
And I don't act like I'm looking for them. You know, when I go out there, I'm really going out there because I hate the city, and I'm not from the city, but now I kind of live in the city. You know what I mean? So when I get into the woods, that's my sanctuary, you know, and it's my happy place. And I'm not really worried about them when I go out there. I'm just worried about the birds in the trees and, you know, just the sounds of not hearing cars and.
Well, that's what I try to tell. That's what I think I tried to instill in Adam, because Adam was afraid to go back out in the woods after his encounter.
Right.
And just don't think about them. I mean, it's just like nature. They're part of nature. You can see if it's there and it's not, you know?
Yeah.
It's don't dwell on it, because if that's the case, the next thing you'd be afraid of bears and everything else.
Yeah, I don't have that sense of fear with anything. Like, I don't know what it is. I do them. Like, I work 40, 50 feet up in the air every day with no straps and stuff. I don't have a fear sense. So I don't know. It's not in me.
It hasn't hit you yet. You're still young.
I'm 44. Come on.
I worked construction most of my life, you know, and we didn't apply for safety things. OSHA wasn't around most of the time.
Man, if OSHA seen some of the stuff I do. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Me too. That's why I'm disabled now.
I fell about 20 foot a couple years ago and popped my ankle out. And so now when I get in sketchy situations, my ankle starts hurting. You know. But yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't take that far.
Yeah.
I fell between 8 and 10 foot, and I was paralyzed from the waist down.
Oh man.
And but I got better, you know. I'm up and walking around. I have my limitations, but
you know, you gotta keep going when that happens to you. That's like I was talking about my uncle when he got in his accident. You know, there was a point where he could wiggle his toes, and he just gave up, man. He just gave up, and now
Good.
Now he's over there. He's angry. He's bitter. Like he let it eat him up, and you can't do that. You just got to keep living.
Yeah.
That's right. Every little advancement is a major victory, and you should take it like that.
Yeah, definitely.
And don't take it as something spiteful. You end up, your life will be short real quick.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this.
Subject.
When you were making because the way you call out your dogs, and how you recreated sound, how do they react to that? Like when they call back, or does it set them off and maybe anger them or anything like that?
So when I would go, woo-hoo, woo-hoo, like that, I would normally hear in the distance, you know what I mean? And that's normally the reaction I get from it. So I don't know if maybe I sound like a female and they're just throwing a sound back or something, But man, I can call my dogs. I've watched my dogs turn around from 3 miles away and come back with that sound.
It's an insult, maybe.
Hopefully they don't
know what it is, but when I do that I normally get some kind of reaction.
Hopefully they don't take you for a female, and then when they come looking, they see you.
Oh man, that would be horrible. That's what I tell my little buddy. I'm gonna find him a female Sasquatch and send him on his way.
Yeah, pops out. Well, you're not a female.
Oh man.
Oh, what could you describe the smell of them like? I know you said like a hog, but for people who probably haven't smelled a hog, is there like a peculiar smell?
Dirt, like soil. You know what I mean? Like a strong dirt, like almost. You ever smell peat dirt?
Yeah,
almost
moss.
like
peat moss.
Well, peat, it's like a real dark dirt that we get down here.
Okay,
and it's great for. It's normally what you find in topsoil, and
right.
And then with a little bit of like a swamp smell, like stagnant water. So almost like dirt and stagnant water is what you smell.
Yeah. Any canine in there?
What's
like
that?
A wet dog?
Yeah.
Does it smell like kind of
air? Yeah.
Besides
like
your friend's dog,
but
besides your friend's dog, have they heard any of your other dogs?
Bonnie, the one dog that I talked about, she had went off and she got in a fight with one, and she had to come back with her head split, and that was the end of her night. And she was a dog that didn't quit. Yeah. When she would get on a hog, she would literally, because how a cow dog, she was a cow dog, yellow cur dog, and how they work, it's like a healer. They snip the heels of the cows. Right. So when she would get after the hogs, she would snip their balls. And a lot of the times we would castrate the pigs, and when she would get done with them, there would already be a perfect slit for us to reach in and pull everything out. So she would snip at their nuts and make them sit. So normally when you would get to Bonnie, she would have the hog backed up, hiding itself, and her in its face just going, and she wasn't scared of nothing. She didn't stop. But when she got in a fight with that one that night, it split her head, and she yelped, and she come and got behind me, and she didn't hunt for the rest of the night. And she was fine after that, but she didn't hunt for the rest of that night. She didn't want nothing to do with it. And it was a big one. There was a scuffle, and you could hear her barking and fighting. And then after you heard that crack, like that was it. It was gone. She come to us, and then I think it was a couple weeks later that we went out there and went coon hunting and had that experience. But yeah, it's one of the things you never forget it. You know what I mean? Like it was, yeah. It's almost something I wouldn't mind reliving it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, minus the dog getting injured.
Yeah,
she was fine. It wasn't that bad.
Yeah,
she was tough.
It was just a flesh wound. Huh?
Yeah, compared to what them hogs do to them, yeah, it wasn't.
Yeah.
Well, that's about all the questions. Oh, well, I got one more. What do you think they are? Like, we have people that came on our show, said they thought that they were an extraterrestrial. I think they're more human. Others think they're more ape. What's your thoughts?
They're definitely a creature, a living creature. I don't want to say that they're, they're a spirit or they're ghostly. I will say that they have senses that we've lost. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's senses as humans throughout time that we've lost, that we don't have no more. Like intuition is a real thing. Like we can make stuff happen. We don't realize we do it. Like you can feel things and we just don't understand it. And I think that they've been around so long and then they've kept their self the way they are, that they have more senses than we do. So that's like the spiritual aspect of it. But I think they're just like me and you. I think they're just us that haven't evolved.
Yeah.
They know better than to get into society, and they stay out there and they're just living. I think there's nice
Or
ones.
could they be?
Go ahead.
They could be what we evolve into.
What we evolved into, maybe.
Yeah, you ever think of it that way? Most people
Well,
don't.
my theory on aliens is aliens are just us in the future that have come back to try to keep us. I mean,
can
if you
see
look
that.
if you look at a gray alien and you look at what humans are, the way we're going into stuff now with all the technology, people don't work no more. We're going to get thinner. We're going to, everything, our eyes are going to get bigger because we're always looking at these screens, and I almost think that aliens are us coming back from the future just to, try to keep us from destroying everything.
Yeah, I heard that theory quite a few times, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not a bad theory. I mean, anything's possible,
Well, if you go back into like Norse religion and stuff like that, we were the gods at one time, and gods are basically just aliens. They come from the sky above, so there's just so many ways to look into things.
Especially in India.
Yeah, in India.
Yep.
You got any more questions from Todd?
No. He covered most of the ones I had, and I forgot the rest. So let's just talk in general. I mean, so you want to have that encounter again? I've had several encounters in my life. None of them were really threatening, other than I've had rocks thrown at me.
Right.
No bigger than about that big,
Yeah, they're just trying to get your
size.
They probably don't realize it's going to hurt us because they're so big. They probably throw rocks at each other.
Yeah, I'm sure they do. I was walking towards them, and that's when I heard them in the bush, and I was going down there to see if I can get some footage, and a rock come flying out and lands at my feet.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's like an invitation or not, but my buddy took it as a threat, and he was backpedaling.
He didn't want nothing to do with it. Everybody takes it different,
Yeah.
Especially
that's what I went out there for.
I think with me having my first experience at a young age, as an adult, I don't worry about it as much, but I couldn't imagine being older and then having that first experience, with more life behind me, So,
well, like you, I've had my first experience when I was 13, but mine was back in 1979. No,
right?
Yeah, no, 76. Excuse me,
man.
And most of my experiences have been in the same area since. And I travel to try and find more experiences. I go out west. I go to Utah. I go to Washington. I go to Northern California.
Yeah, I spent a week in Washington, and I didn't find nothing but Bigfoot signs. at the, and the Bigfoot hamburger at the restaurant, and, but it was beautiful
That's
up there.
right.
I'd love to go back to Washington.
I just got back about a week ago, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. Yeah. It's beautiful up there.
It is. Bit pricey though. I don't want to spend that kind of money just for regular gasoline.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
That's what I was going to say
I'm not
too.
trying.
Is Todd, yours and his encounter, how you guys both had yours is right there on a lake. So when I was reading that in the email, that's what it made me think of was your first encounter.
Every time I have any experience with them is around water. It's always been around the river or a lake, and most of the lakes down here are connected to rivers.
And swamps. For some reason, they love the swamps up here.
Well, they can hide in them.
I
Nobody
might
goes
lose
out
a
there.
connection here. We got thunder rolling in.
Oh, all right.
We could use some rain down here,
Thunderstorms
man.
kicking
It's so dry. We've had all these fires and stuff lately.
Yeah.
Oh, the snow
We've been getting less
here.
and less snow every year.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I'll take 110 degrees over a cold day any day. I like it hot.
I like it hot, but I don't like the humidity.
I don't know any difference.
Yeah. Well, I do. But I have I lived in Florida. I was stationed in Jacksonville. I lived in Georgia, just north of Tallahassee. And I know what the humidity is like down there.
Yeah, I love Georgia.
And
we go to what's that, Tallulah Gorge? You ever been there?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful up there.
I never traveled much around other than to what the heck is it? The Okefenokee Swamp.
Yeah.
We used to
there's
rent.
a story about I believe it's up there somewhere where they had the Confederate soldiers had caught a wild man and took him to an insane asylum. I forget where that was, but they swear it was a skunk ape. They swear
I remember
it was
hearing that story too.
Yeah, that's a good story. That I like to pull that one out as proof that one's been caught.
That's not the first time I heard that though.
Yeah,
I heard another one was caught somewhere slightly out west. They found it laying on the tracks. It was a young one. It had fell off a cliff above the tracks and we got knocked unconscious. Was laying there. They threw it in the back in a train car, and somehow it ended up in Princeton University in New Jersey.
right.
And that's the last we heard of it.
Yeah, they come and get stuff like that. They don't want us to know for some reason.
Yeah. I got many reasons why I believe, but it'd be a conspiracy, and that's another story.
Yeah,
It's time for another topic,
we might be on here another couple hours. We get into that, huh?
Ain't that the truth? Yeah. So there's this is what I come across in my research this past week is that Florida's a hot spot for Bigfoot. The number one spot in the United States right now.
Is it really?
Followed by Washington, Oregon State, those two combined, Northern California, and then Ohio.
Yeah, man, that's
Eastern
crazy about up
Ohio's
there.
become a hotbed. You
Yeah,
heard that? Weird, huh?
I think they were migrating.
Didn't they have a meteor or something fall around the same time?
I don't know about that.
Yeah, there's supposedly a meteor had fell or come into the earth, and then there was a big boom. Look it up later. There was some videos circulating. I don't know if they're real or not, but there was videos of a meteor hitting and a big boom around the same time that they all showed up.
Really?
Almost like they knew something was coming.
Exactly.
They always
there on whatever it was. It wasn't a meteor. It was a spaceship.
Yeah,
they're always there to
Same thing,
show
right?
up.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
They're always pulling up as soon as right after it lands for some reason and clearing
Well, that's
the
like I was
area.
saying earlier when I had that dream and then I seen the lights, I remember looking at them, staring out my window, staring towards the house that night as I was looking out my window. And that was the last thing I seen before I went to sleep. And then I woke up basically paralyzed, because, you can't move. And, I was what, probably 15 at that time. And there's no reason for me to not be able to move when I wake up. It was weird. And then soon I screamed. I remember screaming. And then finally I was able to move again. And when I set up, the whole sky lit up. And it just went, how when you see them, everything lights up and then they just disappear.
We seen
actually my son,
up, that was from
my
a
son
meteor
seen one not too long ago. We had walked out the door where we lived because we just moved here where we're at now. We were living in Bradenton in the city, and we had walked out the door in the morning and we looked up and it was a light glow and then it just took off. And I looked at my little boy. I said, "You seen that?" And he seen it. So what else could it be?
Cool.
I mean, planes don't do that.
We do have that technology that we just don't utilize it and don't let the public know that.
Right.
We've been reverse engineering these things since 43.
Right. Yeah.
I believe our government just leads us into next week's show. I'm not going to go on to that.
Yeah, I think that's the episode we're going to be doing for next week is kind of the disclosure thing and the scientists, things like that.
Another one just came up missing today or yesterday. So that's 12 now, not 11.
Is it 12 now?
That came up dead and missing. All right.
No,
they came up with anti-gravity and they're trying to kill them off so they don't let the public know.
Right.
They're just getting purposely silenced.
Yeah, what about Gerald the dolphin?
We will if we don't shut up.
What do y'all think about Gerald the dolphin? Y'all heard about that one? They found the engineer down here. He was on the beach and he was going on crazy about Gerald the dolphin taking him underwater.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, all these bottlenose dolphins are showing up dead everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then I guess what was it in the 70s, or they were doing experiments on the dolphins trying to learn how to talk with them and communicate with them. So
right.
I don't know, man. Yeah. A lot of strange stuff out there.
They figured it out because they utilized the Navy uses them.
Right.
Dolphins enlisted, I guess you could say.
Well, them and
they use it for a lot of things.
Those big ass sea lions too, out there in Point Loma.
Yeah,
I've seen it out there. Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah.
But
so that's pretty bizarre. I'm wondering. Well, President Trump has even been saying, quoted, he's pretty baffled by the UFO thing too, and he's trying to find out what they are. So we're supposed to be disclosing much more information on that.
Right.
Here recently. Whether it's true or not, take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah, right. There's definitely stuff
that they're going to disclose the stuff we already know that we've been theorizing on for the last 20 years.
Right.
Well, okay, here's one. What do you guys think it's going to take for them to finally disclose the existence of Bigfoot?
Somebody reputable is going to have to bring one in.
Yeah.
alive,
But the thing is, when somebody does find one, they're just going to disappear.
Exactly. That's what happens almost every time they get threatened. If you start going really public about it, it's like I remember hearing a story about these guys that were working somewhere down in Florida, and they hit one with a truck and killed it by accident. Ran out in front of them,
right?
Some park, and so they loaded it up in the back of the truck, and they went back to went to report it that they hit, but they weren't sure. They weren't sure if it was a bear or not, and so they had to bring in somebody else that could look at it. And next thing you know, the Men in Black showed up.
Yep.
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
I've been waiting for years for them to show up for me. I wanna go up to one and slap it as hard as I can to see if it's a mask.
What's that?
I said, hope one of those men in black guys would show up so I could reach up and slap it as hard as I could to see if it's a mask.
Well, that's the thing. When they talk about them,
arrest me. I don't care. I'm on the downside of my life, so I'm not afraid to slap a man in black.
Right.
Well, this is the difference when you're getting into the UFOs and things like that. It's a different type of looking agent. When you get on the cryptid side, they do talk about a cleanly shaven guy, more put together. But then you also get a guy that has a beard like me, that looks all biker looking, and kind of dresses down more. And he's kind of the asshole of the group, So I don't think I'd probably go slapping those guys around.
Not those. It's got to be one of those creepy ones, from the.
Yeah,
I ain't slapping some big burly soldier in the face. I know what would happen for that.
Yeah,
I'm not that big. I'm only 5'6".
Well, they also seem to really mess with people's lives afterwards too.
Yeah,
So
you do. We've seen it. We've talked about it on many shows.
Yeah.
It's raining out. Oh, I love that smell.
Yeah, right.
Right when it starts raining.
You did cut it in and out real quick, like a couple minutes ago with the internet.
Yeah, I saw something flash on the screen there a little bit ago.
I just had a ambulance ride by. That's what all them red lights were.
Hear that?
Yeah, I didn't hear
it. It was just lights.
Oh, didn't see that either. I would have went, look, there's a UFO.
Coming down, and I just disappeared. Talking about the men in black. They'll be coming for us later.
When I was younger, me and two of my buddies were coming back from watching Close Encounters of the Third Kind. And we're driving in a pickup truck, and I'm sitting on the outside, and my buddy's sitting in the middle, and the guy driving the pickup truck is the owner of the truck. And we're coming along, and it's pretty rural up here. You've been up here, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, these lights come up from behind us, and it's an ambulance, and we freaked out like there was no. That guy in the middle freaked out so much. Somehow I get launched out of the cab going down the highway at 55 miles an hour. It's like, good thing there was an ambulance there.
Yeah. You got to go out by M28 to go see what you want to go see there. But,
yeah. There's lots of strange shit that happens up here. We got lots of lights in the sky that nobody can explain. UFO sightings.
Yeah, we get all kinds of stuff. I see stuff in the sky all the time that you don't know what it is, but we also got the Space Center down here, so you never know when they're setting stuff off. And
that is true.
Right.
But, no, I think that's pretty much all I got for tonight, Todd. If you got any more questions.
I have none.
All right.
It's been great having you on, Ryan.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on and tell us about your encounters and experiences. Definitely want to keep more in touch because
definitely.
See how your research goes into the future, and if you find more and have more encounters and stuff, we'll bring you right back on, and you can show the photos and everything. So,
yeah, man.
Yeah.
Anytime. It was great.
How well your kids adjust to seeing it.
Yeah, right.
I
can't wait. They know what it is. What we call them, Daryl.
Make sure you film it.
Yeah, I'll try.
That's one thing people do forget, including myself, is to take out that phone or whatever. It's
so what I do now is what I've been doing lately, and I got a bunch of pictures. Is I just randomly take pictures behind me, and as I'm walking, I have my phone out and just taking pictures, and then I go back and look later to see if maybe you see something in them.
Yeah,
it's a good idea. Isn't it? Scott Carpenter started doing that. He'd mounted the camera on his shoulder, pointing backwards,
Right.
off the shoulder strap from his backpack.
It's not a bad
That's what
idea.
he-
Amazing stuff. You're gonna go check it out on his channel on YouTube, Scott Carpenter.
Okay.
He's passed now, but I'm sure his channel's still up.
Yeah. I'll check it
yeah,
out.
it's definitely. But yeah, thank you again. Appreciate it so much for having you on, and you're more than welcome to always come back. So,
All right, buddy. I appreciate it.
all right.
It's a good
Thank you
time.
much.
Y'all have a
Definitely
good one.
was. You too.
You too. Appreciate it. Peace out.
All right. Do you got anything to add on before we cut off?
No. Just next week's show, we're going to try and discuss the 12 missing scientists and come up with our own theories and conspiracies on it. And it should be for an interesting show.
Yeah.
You know, I started looking into these people, and these people are geniuses.
Oh yeah, some of the things they were working on and the anti-gravity and all that stuff. I'm gonna do some good research on that because something's not right about what is happening. So I can't wait to do that show.
Yeah, now the FBI's totally into it, and because Trump got wind of it, he announced to know what's going on too, supposedly. You know, the non for that transparency there going on. So let's see. They can find out before next week or in 2 weeks from now.
Well, hopefully we do hear something because this is not something that should be happening in these people, and just like I said, purposely, being vanished, put away, purposely silenced. There you go.
When the first 4 came up missing and dead, I said something funny's going on. When he started saying that these people worked for who they worked for, we could discuss that right now. And all of a sudden now they're missing. I don't know. It's pretty scary. I'm thinking that some organizations trying to cover them up.
Yep, that's I think as well.
Trying to hide something. So there, folks. Well on that. That's all I can say.
Before we go, you can get a hold of us at enteringtheunknown22@gmail.com. You'll see it flashing across the screen down there during the whole episode. So we would love to hear from you, hear about your encounters, experiences, stories, research. Come on, even if you're a skeptic and you want to talk about your proven points with that, and we'll sit down and we'll listen with you as well.
Yeah, you can even comment on us if you want, because if you got this new format, there's comments. Nobody has conversed with us tonight, so
no, we have people on watching throughout the night, but that's okay. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the show. I definitely did, and hopefully we get to have Ryan back on in the near future.
Sure, hopefully.
All right.
Some other interesting individuals too. I'm working on one right now, and I'm not going to say anything more about it because every time I do, I lose that chance. So
there you go. All right. Hopefully everybody enjoyed the show, and you all have a good night.
Good night, everybody. See you next time.